Good evening, Chair Jolly, ladies and gentlemen. The Freehold Board, Bruce, Paterson, Garwood. I'll try to contain myself a little better than that meeting. Although, you know what, that word "scumbag" that I used was actually used on Under the Dome TV program like a couple of days later. So I mean, it may be derogatory, but it's not that. But anyway, the executive session in the last meeting, it was for negotiations with PBA 199. I'm really not talking about PBA 199, but I am talking about negotiations in general. A couple of years ago, when you were slowly finishing up, I think it was 25 or 26 union or collective bargaining units. At the same time, people were coming here and actually talking about the health care costs, and that they're becoming very extravagant to the taxpayers since we're paying it all. I think in this year's budget it was somewhere around $52 million or $56 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. In particular, especially when you already downsized a lot of people from the Runnels sale, and yet you're spending a lot of money on that. One person, I forgot who he was, or a couple of people actually came and they suggested that you go into the joint insurance, New Jersey Joint Insurance Fund for the health insurance, and that's a good idea. It sounds like you're going through the cycle again with negotiations of the collective bargaining units. I think it's about time. Now you should start moving over into the joint insurance fund. There were numbers that were tossed around a couple of years ago. The savings was around $7 million. Somebody actually had numbers and such, and that recall. So $7 million you could save. Let's say $5 million, just for the heck of something. We could save $5 million. The taxpayers could save $5 million out of our pockets. And it's up to you to do something like that in these collective bargaining negotiations. In addition, and it's interesting, in your budget this year, the opt-out for the health insurance, and that's when a spouse has insurance and the other person who's working for the county doesn't need insurance, so he opts out and he takes like $3,000 to $5,000 depending on family or single. But anyway, that was interesting because last year it was $1.3 million, it was $1.5 million in the budget. This year it's actually $1.8 million in opt-out costs, and this was despite the couple of hundred people that were being laid off from Runnels. So I mean, to me, I was scratching my head on that. I didn't talk about that really too much in the budget meetings, but something doesn't make sense there. And what I'm leading up to about this opt-out cost is that these people that are opting out, they presently, if they had insurance, would have to pay 30% of the premium based on the state legislature's bill that they passed, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And the 30% of the premium they're saving, that's not coming out of their pocket, that should be the cost savings to the person itself, not this additional $3,000 to $5,000. Seriously, look at that. Garwood had put that in place, recognizing that value, that you don't have to shell out this money. Like I said, this is taxpayers' money that you're giving to your employees. $1.8 million. Possibly you could save at least $500,000, maybe $1 million there. So the $5 million and then move over to the joint insurance fund, the $1 million for the opt-out. Brown & Brown, I think, is your agent that handles this. I'm not 100% sure, but I know they were making $2 to $3 million, and so they wouldn't be doing that. That's part of the savings there. It's a great idea. You're now going through negotiation cycles. I suggest you seriously implement the JIF. Let's go back to like the other week when I was escorted out. And, normally I do apologize for using that word, but obviously the word wasn't as bad as you made it out to be. And to tell you the truth, I mean, I heard, I was out of the meeting obviously, but I did hear the explanation from Council Barry about why you did not explain the reason that it was still not signed. To me, that's a crime. I mean, 4 times this question was asked. Finally, after the 4th time, in another meeting, when I stood up and I used that derogatory name and I was escorted out, finally you came out with the answer. Why didn't, in the first 3 times, why didn't you explain that in the first 3 times and it had to come down to where I used that term?
Anyone else wishing to speak or comment on resolution?
Thank you
make any comments at all?
Thank you very much.